Hello, today we're going to be looking at PNSO's fabulous Ivan the Olorotitan figure. Of all the hadrosaurs they've done, I haven't gone for many of them, but when I saw the images of this one, I knew I just had to. It's a particularly well done one. So not only is this in quite a dynamic pose, but it also, unlike a lot of hadrosaur figures, doesn't look particularly derpy in any particular way or anything like that. I love hadrosaurs, one of my favourite groups of dinosaurs, but I don't have that many because it's difficult to find figures which really do them justice. So it's incredibly excited to get this one, which I did, of course, get from Everything Dinosaur. And this one really does resemble the promotional imagery on the box very, very closely. In fact, in some ways it's superior because what they've chosen to do is make these stripes on the tail black, which gives it an extra little bit of interest compared to the promotional images here in the artwork on the box. Really is very effective. What they've chosen to do is make the crest similar to the original coloration of the spines on their original incarnation of B. Stegosaurus, but it actually works really well on this figure. And this figure, when I first took it out of the box, really did blow me away. Sometimes figures are a little disappointing when you take them out of the box. This one most certainly isn't. So first up, looking at the head, yes, you can see the crest here is beautifully sculpted. There's some interesting, you can't really see it on the camera, but there's some interesting parallel lines, which almost suggests that this was 3D printed at some point during the manufacturing or sculpting process. They're not present on the other side of the crest, which is an intriguing curiosity. There is, however, a slight manufacturing line on the side of the crest, but doesn't detract too much from the overall appearance. You can see how beautifully sculpted this head is. It's a very tiny little head, as you can see by the ends of my fingers. But the detail they've packed in here is phenomenal, and the eye is beautifully painted. Again, a lot of hadrosaurs are known to have skin impressions associated with them, and they seem to have all sorts of interesting sort of textures and differences and folds and wrinkles in their skin. PNSO haven't gone too overboard with this one. They've put a couple of little extra ornamental scales and a little crest along the back, but they haven't gone too overboard, and they haven't gone on put anything particularly ornamental on the underside or anything like that, so that's fine. It works well on this figure. See how well sculpted that beak is and how well extended the keratin on that beak is too. So maybe it's a little bit of what you might call shrink wrapping around the face. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Again, I'm looking a little sunken around the eye sockets at the minute. It's been a very hard year, so I'm not going to worry too much about that on a figure of this calibre. A figure which I highly recommend. As you can see, there's a little ear opening there. The eye is equally beautifully painted on this side, and it looks really bright. The blending of the paint is beautifully done. I love this overall sort of purplish colour. It looks extremely well on this figure. There's no shrink wrapping elsewhere on the body. It's all beautifully muscled. Again, there's been attention paid to the flex of the muscles and the position of the muscles and how much bulge or relaxation there is to them. Very, very nicely done. The cloacal vent is picked out in a slightly different colour on this figure compared to figures I've previously reviewed. The tail from the top maybe a little thin down the sides here. It's quite blade-like. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Olorotitan really is one of my favourite dinosaurs, and you can see how they've wrinkled up the skin there. And again, look at the skin texture on the thighs. It's incredibly fine. It really does look very, very good. Not overdone or overcut at all, just really smooth. The way the skin's stretched around the legs. Coming down the forelimbs here, you've got that free finger, and then they've put a hoof. Because of the blending of the paint, it doesn't show up fantastically well, but as per the specimen of Dakota, which was of course of Montosaurus, they've put hooves on the front limbs of this Olorotitan here. And again, that other free finger there. Absolutely beautifully done. An excellent representation of a hadrosaur, especially one which is terribly underappreciated like Olorotitan is. I'm really surprised there's not more decent representations of this figure. I mean, there's a lovely little collector one, but it's from the old days of collector when they weren't really all that. The other hadrosaurs I have in the collection, I do of course have the Batat Parasaurolophus, which is a fascinating, oopsie daisy. Oh, that's the other thing about this figure, although it's a bit of a tripod, it does tend to be a bit unstable going over on that side. As you can see, the feet are very, very dainty. It does, however, come with a stand, which you can just tuck under the arm there, and it provides a little bit of extra stability. And it's gone over a few times, the paintwork hasn't scuffed, so that's good. You know, there's nothing worse than scuffing a model that you love, or it arriving scuffed. That's another one, but I'll come to that in a future video with a different figure. So yeah, Spatat's little Parasaurolophus here. It was an absolute beauty, surpassed, I suppose, only by PNSO's own Wyatt. Wyatt was, of course, the main character in the Westworld series, and she was phenomenal. So I like to think that Wyatt is named after her, but I suspect it's not. And I know this is probably the last figure I previewed before my absence from the channel, so I'm hoping to get around to reviewing this one as well, because this one really is one of the best Hadrosaur figures ever created. And then just for final comparison, Safari Limited's beautiful, beautiful Edmontosaurus regalis. I had this one at work recently and it really went down very well. So as you can see, there's a load of different styles here. These are all beautiful Hadrosaur models, and I hope you've enjoyed having a look at them and having a look at Ivan with me, and I'll see you in the next video.